So our good follower of the channel, Ryan Thompson, has headed out of the park again. He's made a request for the player many of us who follow baseball called the Link. The modern game can be linked to this guy not only because of his talent, but because he was the first pitcher to win 300 games. Now, when Tim Keefe became a superstar in baseball, he was literally a New Year's baby, born in Cambridge, Massachusetts, January 1st, 1857. Now, nicknamed Smiling Tim and Sir Timothy, he only was 5'10 and 185, but he was considered one of the most dominant pitchers of the 19th century and posted impressive statistics in one category or another for almost every season he pitched. He was the second MLB pitcher to record 300 wins and was elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1964. Now, Keefe's career spanned much of baseball's formative stages. His first campaign was the last in which pitchers threw from 45 feet, so most of his career he pitched from 50 feet. His final season was the first campaign in which pitchers hurled from a modern distance of 60 feet, 6 inches. Now, again, his father Patrick was an Irish immigrant with a name like Keefe, what do you expect? He wasn't an old Keefe, but close enough. Now, uh, his father served in Union Army during the American Civil War and eventually became a prisoner of war for several years. All four of Patrick's brothers were killed in the war. Tim had been named after two of them. Now, Tim's brother became a major and also fought in the Spanish American War. After the war, Patrick had high expectations for his son, and the two frequently fought over Tim's pursuit of baseball. With the help of local former pitcher Tommy Bond, Keefe persisted and became known as standout local pitcher by 1876. His early professional career included minor league stints in Lewiston, Clinton, New Bedford, Utica, and Albany. Now, when Keefe entered the major leagues in 1880 with the Troy Trojans, he immediately established himself as a talented pitcher, posting an outstanding .86 ERA in 105 innings pitched, a record that still stands. He also posted the best adjusted ERA plus in baseball history in 1880. Despite the sterling ERA, he managed but a 6-6 record, pitching in 12 games, all complete. In 1883, after Trojan folded, Keefe rose to stardom with the New York Metropolitans of the AA under manager gentleman Jim Muttrey and had one of the most dominating seasons in baseball's early history. On Independence Day of that year, he pitched both ends of a doubleheader against Columbus, winning the first game with a one-hitter, the second a two-hit gem. He went 41-17 over 619 innings pitched with a 2.41 ERA and 361 strikeouts. His 1884 campaign was also as dominant, going 37-17 and striking out 334. Now in 1885, John B. Day, who owned the Metropolitans and New York Giants in the National League, moved Keefe and Muttrey to the Giants. Here, Keefe joined future Hall of Famers Buck Ewing, Monty Ward, Roger Connor, Mickey Walsh, and orator Jim O'Rourke to form an outstanding team that finished with a fine 85-27 record. Keefe went 32-13 with a 1.58 ERA and 227 strikeouts. In 1887, he sat out several weeks of the season after he struck a batter in the head with a pitch, and of course, he took it very hard, and it was said to have suffered a severe nervous breakdown. He had arguably his greatest season in 1888 when he led the league with a 35-12 record, with a 174 ERA and 335 strikeouts. Again, a Triple Crown winner. He won 19 consecutive games that campaign, a record that stood for 24 years. Now, the Giants played the St. Louis Browns of the AA in a postseason series for the Dovray Cup, and Keefe added 4 more wins to his tally. Keefe even designed the famous all-black funeral uniforms the Giants wore that season. Now, Keefe was very well paid for his career, yet he was a leading member of the Brotherhood of Professional Baseball Players, an early players' union that fought for the welfare of players. He assisted his brother-in-law Monty Ward to form the Players' League for 1890. As an co-organizer of the Players' League, he recognized that he might be financially vulnerable if the league failed to make money. Keefe eventually transferred ownership of his real estate assets to his mother so that he could remain safe from any legal rulings. Now, shortly before the Players' League was founded, Keefe had started a sporting goods business in New York with W.H. Buchanan, a former employee, a baseball owner, and sporting goods entrepreneur Albert Spalding. Now, Keefe and Buchanan manufactured the Keefe ball, the official baseball of the league. Spalding and the other NL owners fought against the new league, employing legal and financial maneuvers such as slashing NL ticket prices that made competition difficult. The Players' League unfortunately folded after one season. Now, in the 1891 preseason, he refused a salary offer of $3,000 from New York, as he had earned $4,500 in the previous season. Keefe said, "I want to play in New York, but I will never for a $3,000 salary. To tell you the truth, however, I do not think I am wanted in the New York team, and this cutting method is being pursued to keep me out." He eventually signed with the team for $3,500. Now, during the 1891 season, Keefe was released by New York. He was drawing a high salary and was not meeting expectations of the team's leadership. After his release, Keefe said, "I hate to leave New York. I am very fond of it and would do all my power for New York, but what am I to do? I have been systematically done by the New York Baseball Club. They would not let me play, and when I did get a chance, I worked under a disadvantage. I feel I am just as good a player as I ever was." Now, when Keefe moved to the Phillies after his release from the Giants, he retired after the 1893 season with 342 wins, which are 10th all time, a 2.62 ERA, and 2,562 strikeouts. His strikeout total were a major league record at the time of his retirement. He was also the first pitcher to achieve 300-plus strikeout seasons, done during the dominating prime in the 1880s, in which he won the most games in a decade with 291. He still holds a record for having wins in most ballparks with, get this, 47. Keefe was nicknamed Sir Timothy because of his gentlemanly behavior on and off the field. He was a teetotaler and he never smoked. Now, late in his playing career, he began to coach college baseball and continued his capacity after his retirement as a player. Starting in the spring of 1893, he began to work as a pitching coach for, get this, Harvard. Keefe also worked as an umpire for a total of 243 major league games. His most active year was 1895, when he umpired 129. He was also involved in real estate. He died in his hometown of Cambridge, Mass, at the age of 76. Now, inducted in the Baseball Hall of Fame in '64, after being elected by the Veterans Committee, 6 players were inducted that year, and Keefe was one of the 5 who had voted in by the Veterans Committee. Now, official starts: 342, 225, 262 average, and even 600 games, 595 started, 554 complete games, 39 shutouts, 2 saves, 5,047 innings pitched, 4,439 hits against, 2,468 runs, 1,472 earned runs, so a lot of runs were unearned. He gave up 81 homers, 1,220 bases on balls, 2,562 strikeouts, 233 wild pitches, 96 hit by pitch. And of course, hit by pitch were not officially recognized during parts of all of his career and are incomplete for the baseball stats. Now, ladies and gentlemen, rough stats, again, a Triple Crown winner, but let's just do a rough number. This is just consecutive seasons. Now, from 1880 to 1893, 6-6, 18-27, 17-26, 41-27, 37-17, 32-13, 42-20, 35-19, 35-12, 28-13, 17-11, 5-11, 2 in a full combined season with New York Giants, Philadelphia, with the Phillies 19-16 and 10-7. So for me, in my personal opinion, it's got to be 1886 was his best campaign ever. He led in wins, games started, complete games, and innings pitched at 535. The strikeouts, again, were through the roof, ladies and gentlemen. And there was no awards at the time. So 162 game average over a season, he would probably be in the 20 range. So 174 wins with the New York Giants, 41 with Troy, 32 with Philadelphia, and the New York teams, 78 wins and 17 victories. 247 and 170 in the National League, 78 and 44 in the AA. So again, a very, very interesting career. Only 14 seasons, and played in 3 postseason championships, winning for the New York Giants in the World Series in 1888 and 1889, and losing in 1884 again with the New York Giants. Went 4-0 in the 1888 season towards the World Series. Now, his batting wasn't too bad as well. He had a career 187 batting average and 12 home runs, 134 RBIs. So not too bad as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you to our great follower, Ryan Thompson. Tim Keefe, again, what a career. And if you're looking at the great Irish players of that era, or Irish athletes, John L. Sullivan, him and a few others, just tremendous. By the way, if you like what we're doing here with our vintage, turn of the 20th century podcast, let us know with a like, comment, and subscribe. The late 19th century for baseball had a lot of heroes, and Tim Keefe was one of them. Thanks for listening, and don't forget, any baseball game, if it's a really nice day, say like the old man, let's play two. Have a good one. Bye.